Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley and I am so excited to be here in the classroom today. Today I'm going to show you how to make some dimensional foiled embellishments, and I'll be using this product from Thermoweb. This is called Deco Foil and I saw it at CHA and fell in love with it. It's so awesome and versatile. I wanted to show you that this Deco Foil comes in a variety of colors and patterns. There's a rainbow pattern, there's a leopard print. They come in satin finishes like this magenta one here. And each one of these tubes actually has 5 sheets of 6x12 foil in them. So you're going to get a lot of mileage out of them. This happens to be the teal. When you open these up, you're going to see a teal or a colored side of this foil as well as the silver backer. And I'll show you how we're going to use these on our foam embellishments. Now, if 5 of these sheets is not enough, which for me in the gold, it is not nearly enough. There are value packs. These come in 20, and I have the gold and the rose gold here. I'm going to be using the rose gold on my project today. And I also wanted to show you a couple of the adhesives that Thermoweb has designed to work with these. There is an iron-on adhesive as well as a double-sided foam adhesive. That iron-on adhesive is awesome because you can actually die cut that as well, use it in a laminator, or you can use it on fabric with an iron. But today I'm going to be using the double-sided foam adhesive, and so I'm going to take my dies. These are the Bold Blossoms dies from the Essentials by Ellen release. I just love these dies, and I'm going to place them onto my double-sided foam here and just run them through my die cut machine. Now this works the same in a Big Shot or a Vagabond or a Cuttlebug. I happen to have an Evolution here, but these cut really beautifully. Now, once I get all my flowers cut out, I'm going to remove the inner portions of them, which I like to call weeding. Now, they don't pop right out readily, but you can just push them through with a little craft pick and pull them out. It's a very easy process. It's not much hassle at all. And once I get all of my flowers weeded out, I'm going to take a piece of this rose gold foil, and I'm going to place it with the silver side up on my work surface here. So I am going to remove one of the backers on one of the sides of each of these flowers. So there's 2 backers because it's a double-sided adhesive foam. And I'm just going to remove one side of those backers. And then you'll see my die here. I am going to place this with the adhesive side down onto the silver side of my foil. Now, whatever you're using as an adhesive, you'll want it to come in contact with the silver portion of this foil. So there's different ways you can use this, but I'm just showing you how I'm doing these foam embellishments today. Once I get all those laid onto my foil, I'm going to just turn this over and burnish it lightly with my finger. I'm just making sure that all of that adhesive comes in contact with foil all over all of it so that they'll be nicely coated. And you can see when I pull these away from the foil, you have a beautiful rose gold foil finish. Now, these are amazing, and I cannot wait to do this with every single die that I have in my stash. So you're going to see here that I actually missed a part on this little leaf here. No big deal. I'm just going to take it back over to my foil piece, push it back onto that silver side, and then nobody will ever know that you didn't do it perfect the first time. So now that I've created my foiled flowers for the front of my card, I am going to take a piece of 43-pound Essentials by Ellen Vellum. I love this vellum. And I am going to color it using a Copic marker. Now, I love vellum. I love to use vellum on my projects. And coloring it with Copics is one of my favorite techniques to change up the look of vellum because you can create some beautiful colored vellums just by scribbling your Copic marker all over. So once I have this colored, I am going to take this fishtail banner die by My Favorite Things, and I'm going to run it through my die cut machine to create this banner shape. Now, I decided it would be fun to kind of add a marbleized effect to this Copic colored vellum. So I'm just taking a plain old alcohol swab, and I'm kind of blotting and dabbing all over the inked side of this vellum. Now, when I put this on my card project, the ink side is actually going to be going down onto the project. So you'll actually see this through the vellum rather than see the ink straight up as you're seeing it now. But rubbing alcohol and Copic markers, you can really create some really cool effects. And just by dabbing that alcohol swab on there, I created this really cool marbleized effect on this banner. Now I have this sentiment stamp set. Actually, it's not a sentiment stamp set, but it has tons of sentiments on it by Avery L. And I'm going to combine the Happy Mother's Day to create my sentiment for this card. Now, because I'm using 3 separate stamps and I'm mounting them all on one block, I like to kind of do a test run on a piece of scratch paper to make sure that I have the alignment perfect before I stamp it onto my project. So once I have that all perfectly aligned, I'm going to ink it up in some black StazOn and stamp it onto my banner. Now I have a piece of Neenah 110-pound solar white cardstock, and I've created a card base. It's a 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. And I'm taking this curved die by Pretty Pink Posh and just lining that up to where it's centered. I used my grid mat to make sure I got it nice and centered. And when I run that through my die cut machine, I have this beautiful curved edge with a little bit of faux stitching. I love this die. It's one of my favorites. Now, because I wanted to do some stamping on the front of this card base, I'm going to go ahead and mask off that bottom portion. And I'm using this diagonal stripe stamp by My Favorite Things. I'm just inking it up with a little wet cement ink from Hero Arts, and I'm partially inking this background stamp, kind of creating a semicircle effect. And then I'm just very gently dabbing the edges with a baby wipe of that inked edge portion. I'm going to stamp it off on a piece of scratch paper and then take my card base to the stamp. And I'll cover that with a piece of scratch paper and rub all over it to make sure that I get that ink transferred on there. And I just stamped it off so it wasn't quite so intense. And I have a partially inked background. I'm now taking this circle, which I cut from some Maggie Holmes 6x6 pattern paper pad, and I'll have that linked over in the classroom supply list. And I'm mounting that to the left side of that card base. And then I'm just taking a little bit of tape runner adhesive and putting that underneath on the vellum where the flowers will cover that up, and attaching my banner piece to the front of my card as well. And then I'm going to add my foam pieces onto the front of my card. Now, because these are already double-sided adhesive, all I have to do is remove the backer on the back part of these foam embellishments, and I can just attach them to the front of my card. And I'm just arranging them here. Some of them are hanging over the edge of the card, and that's okay. We're going to neutralize that adhesive a little bit later on. And this large flower is the only one that I added just a touch of foam adhesive to the edge that was sticking off of the other flowers so that it would kind of even it up a little bit. But because these are already foam, they have their own dimension to them, and they're just gorgeous. So I have those all arranged there, and I think they're beautiful. But I felt like my card was still missing something. So I took a strip of that I Love You pattern paper by Maggie Holmes, and I am just attaching that to the bottom inside of the card so that when the card's closed, you'll see that I Love You sentiment kind of going across the bottom underneath that curved edge as well. And I still felt like this card was missing a little something. And so I decided I wanted to create a ring of pattern paper around this circle that was already there. So I'm taking the same size circle die that I used to cut the I Love You circle, and I'm taking the next circle die that's a little bit larger, and I'm just adding them kind of evenly spaced onto this pattern paper, one inside the other. And I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and it gives me this perfect little ring. And then I'm just going to trim that, cut that open on one side so that I can kind of slide it through. Now, had I thought about this beforehand, I could have just created a larger circle to layer underneath that other one, but honestly, I did not think of it. So I just attached that with a little tape runner adhesive and trimmed that down, and then that was the finishing touch that this card really needed. But let's not forget that we still have those adhesive back flowers that are hanging off the edge of our card. So all I'm going to do is take my EK Success powder tool, and I'm just going to dab a little bit of this powder onto the back, and that's going to neutralize that adhesive so that you're not going to have any sticky parts hanging off your card. I'm just finishing off the card with a little bit of some sparkle and shine with some sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh, and I'm just attaching those with a little matte medium from Ranger. And that finishes off my Mother's Day card for today with some gorgeous rose gold foiled embellishments. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget, head on over to the classroom where we'll have all the products linked there for you to see. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fabulous day.